What is up, guys? It's Marcus, back with another video, and I know it's been a pretty long time since my last video. Now today is going to be my official review of the 2021 M1 iPad Pro. And I've had this thing for about a month. I normally give myself about a month to fully grasp the products that I personally bought with my own money. So none of these have been given to me and nothing like that. I bought these products myself. These are my official thoughts about the M1 iPad Pro. And the very first thing that I want to say to kind of hook the video together, the iPad Pro is my most favorite device that I have ever bought or owned. Now that says a lot because I also own the PS5. I have the newest MacBook Pro that just came out. You know, I have the iPhone 11 Pro Max. Now, I've been on road trips with this thing and it made my life so much easier. And here's exactly why. So, to kick off this kind of short review, let's go over the design, all right? Now, the iPad Pro is one of the most gorgeous, beautifully designed products I have ever laid my eyes on. The design of the iPad Pro didn't really change since its inception back in 2018. It still has the exact same design. It's flat, it's beautiful. The magnets are still at the top like this. And the Face ID sensor is still right here at the top. It got just a tad bit thicker this year due to some more battery upgrades and things like that. But overall, it's the same exact design that Apple's been using for the past 3 years, and it really, to me, hasn't gotten old. It's still the most gorgeous pad device you can ever have in your hand. Now, the iPad Pro does come in two sizes. We have the iPad Pro 10.9 inch or 11 inch. That's the one that I personally have. And then there's the behemoth, that is the 12.9 inch version, which also features a mini LED display for better photo and video and screen quality, better color accuracy, things like that I personally did not care about because I felt like the iPad Pro 11-inch display was perfect enough. Both versions of the iPad Pro do have the M1 processor, which is kind of like the big thing this year. And it does come in two different colors, space gray or silver. Those are the two options that they have. I personally wanted a gold version of the iPad Pro because I felt like it would be beautiful, and I wish I had some renders to show what that looked like. But just picture a golden slab of glass in your hands. Like, that would be pretty dope. And it also comes in about 5 different storage configurations. You have the 128 gig, the 256 gig, 512, 1 terabyte, and 2 terabytes. But as you know, the higher tier of your memory, the more money you gotta pay. All right. Now, I did pay about $100 more to get the 256 gigabyte model of the iPad Pro because I knew that I would be taking this on the road to do some light video editing, you know, some photo editing, things like that. So that's why I went ahead and upgraded myself. And I can tell you guys right now, I am nowhere near filling this thing up just yet. All right. Now, we can't talk about the design without talking about a couple accessories that come with it. And as you can see, we have the brand new, well, not really new, but the Apple Pencil 2 that's magnetized, as you can see. Now, with the design of the iPad Pro, it allows for magnets to be right here on the side, which allows for the Apple Pencil to just magnetically hook onto the iPad and start charging away, which is way better than the last method of plugging it into the bottom of the iPad Pro and have a tiny little unicorn. That was kind of a bad design. Now, the reason why I started with the design is because personally, for me, number one, it's a gorgeous piece of technology that anybody who buys the iPad Pro would completely agree with. Now, I did mention in the beginning of my video that I also own a MacBook Pro. One thing about having a MacBook and an iPad Pro, you have to choose which one you want, okay? We all know that the MacBook Pro does not have a touchscreen. The iPad Pro does. We all know that the MacBook Pro is slightly more efficient when it comes to doing more office tasks and things like that. We all know that. But with having an iPad Pro and a MacBook Pro, you really have to pick and choose which one you want to take with you for travel, okay? For portability, I'll take this thing any day. But when I know that I'm about to be on a trip, vlogging, doing things like that, where I need to do some video editing quickly, I would take my MacBook Pro. And that's because of the software that's on this iPad Pro is just not powerful enough for what the hardware can really do. iPad OS 15 was previewed back in June, and it showed off the newer version of the operating system. And to tell you guys the truth, I have a video on that right here for you guys to check out. My thoughts on the iPad OS 15 software update, what I like about it, what I don't like about it. I don't like it. It just makes the iPad Pro feel underwhelming. Because we know with the M1 processor, you're supposed to be doing so much more, but it is limited because of the software. There are just way too many limitations to this thing, which kind of makes me want to choose to take my MacBook Pro on road trips instead of this thing. But if I'm just, browsing the web, watching YouTube videos in my hotel room or anything like that, then I would take this. But when I know that I need to do some work with it, doing some office work or anything like that, I would take my MacBook Pro. So hopefully throughout this year with iPad OS 15 updates and maybe even OS 16, hopefully, crossing my fingers, that Apple will finally give us the update that will fully take advantage of the hardware that's in this iPad Pro. Because of right now, it's literally just an entertainment device. I mean, I do my budgets on here. I do, I just have fun on this thing. It's not really meant for the professional person at all, which is kind of bad because Pro is in the name. But that's just kind of where I stand with it. Overall, I mean, this thing is gorgeous, it's beautiful. It's underwhelming, to say the least, but it is still a pretty incredible piece of technology that I think that anybody who will buy this right now would be pretty happy with it. It's just really for those pro users who really need decent video editing performances or decent video editing apps. Like my biggest gripe is because I'm a video editor and I use LumaFusion is okay for what it is. That's the video editing software that is the best on the iPad Pro, and I've used it a lot. A couple of the videos that I posted on here were edited strictly off of LumaFusion, and it did pretty well. But I'm hoping that one day Apple will finally give us the update that is needed in order to take our experiences with the iPad Pro to another level. Now here's the part of the video about my recommendations. I just graduated college and I've had the ability to have both an iPad and a MacBook Pro during my college experience. And I would say if you were to choose between the iPad Pro or the MacBook Pro to be your main, do it all type of device, MacBook Pro. Okay, sorry to say the least, but the iPad Pro still has a long way to go, but still, do the MacBook Pro or even the MacBook Air. Okay, one of those products will be way better than the user experience that you'll probably gain from this. Now, in a separate video, I will have my review of the Magic Keyboard that was just updated this year for the iPad Pro, and so that will come at a later date. But I just want to go ahead and get this review out for the iPad Pro, tell you guys what I liked about it, what I didn't like about it. But the Magic Keyboard review will be out in just a couple days. You guys stay tuned from that. But until then, my name is Marcus. Please like, comment, and subscribe below, and you guys have a very good one. Peace.